Hello everybody. This is Alyssa from Mink Arts and Crafts, and today we are here to go over all of my finishes for the month of January. So as you guys know, I love my month in review videos. I think they're so much fun to film. I love seeing them. I love doing them. So this is what we're going to get into. We're going to break into my finishes. We're going to take a look at my whips, and then we're also going to take a look at all of the canvases that I kitted up for moving forward into February. And I also wanted to mention that I will have another video going out in a couple days that is basically going to be going over my logbook, how I fill things out, what it looks like, all of that. So if you're interested in that details, that's something that you're going to see in like my next video. I actually filmed it before. I'm filming this, but it's like a super long video. I think it's actually going to be longer than my month in review, crazily enough. But we're going to go over all of that in the next one. So this is my logbook. I go through the details of how I'm logging everything right in here. But we're going to take a look at it and we're going to see, because that video also is kind of like my accountability because I'm trying to decrease the size of my hoard. If you guys watched my videos talking about what my goals are for 2026, if you saw that video, then the one that I just filmed that is going to go up on a couple days after this one goes up, that video is going to go over kind of like touching base of how I am doing on my goals as well. But we're going to go into it. So the first finish that I have for the month, this is going to be Year of the Snake. This is from the artist Christina Yen right here. There's the cuteness of it. This is from Diamond Art Club. It is a round drill canvas, 55.6 by 70.7. It does come with 60 colors, which included 2 ABs and 2 fairy dust. So this one I started on the 28th of December, so it was a whip from last month/last year, and I finished it on the 3rd of January. And with this canvas, I believe I did do a post review for this kit, so you could see how I enhanced it and did the bling, because as you can look, you're seeing a lot of enhancements in here, especially on our little snacky snack. Let me turn off this overhead so we can see a little bit without that glare right in there. But it really, actually, no, I think I'm liking how it catches the light where you can really pick up those crystals. We just had the light right there. This one took me 18 hours and 31 minutes to do. My thoughts on it, super cute. I loved the snake and how the bling on my snake turned out, and I'll go over that and show that to you real quickly because I did add enhancements to this one. These are the enhancements that I added, as you can see there. These ones for the lanterns and the fans up top, and then this for our snake. This was my first finish for the month of January and my first finish of the year, which also was this 178th finish of all time. So as we look at them, you can see I added all of these enhancements up here on the lanterns. So I added a bunch of ABs. This one was charted with, it was charted with 2 ABs and 2 fairy dust on this kit, which one of them was in this, one of the ABs in the snake, and I think one of the dust in the snake maybe. Let me look, I can tell you for sure. I had a yellow and a red dust, so those were both up top. And then I had a creamy AB and a green AB. So the green AB was in our snake, and then this creamy AB was this one right here that you're seeing there. So that was what was charted. I added a bunch more enhancements. I added some crystals, as you can see right in here. I basically made the lanterns and the fans mostly bling. So there's tons of dust on these lanterns, or on the fans, and a ton of ABs on the lanterns up top. I didn't do anything to the lightning or the fireworks in the background. I left that alone. And then my little snacky snack, he ended up with tons of enhancements, which again, I have that post review of this canvas so you can see the details of it, because I really wanted to, I added a lot of like crystals and crystal confetti to give us, and some ABs to give us this like look that you're seeing on our little snack. Like all of this yellow is crystal, and then we have that crystal confetti up in there, and I think it turned out really good to give it that look like our snake is almost wet, I guess you could say, because that's really what I wanted. I wanted to kind of look like he was almost like truly wet in a way, because he's a snake. They have that like dampness to their flesh. So that was the first finish. Next up, we have a mini completion. So this is Mini Dazzle. This is Merry Christmas. This one was they're square drills. Some of them are partials, some of them are fulls. There are 16 colors. They're roughly 10 by 15 centimeters. They came with 3 ABs, 1 electro, and 12 fairy dust in this set of 6. I started them on the 4th of January, finished them on the 4th of January, and it took me 2 hours and 35 minutes to finish all of them. My thoughts on these, there's Max. My thoughts on these, they were absolutely adorable. I love the pixelated look of them. I think it's super cute with these little pixel faces. Like, look at this little Grinch. Super cute. And then these ones, those 3 were full, and then, well, these 4 were full, because then we have the Christmas tree. And then we had I'm a Little Grinch and Max and the Grinch right here for our partials. I prefer the full drill canvases for these mini Dazzles. I think I just like the look and work, and I like working on them more when they're full drills like this than when they're like partials like these. I did have to say that doing the backgrounds on these with like this portion was all checkerboarding, a lot of like details. So it wasn't like a big swath of color blocking when you're working on these backgrounds. But I definitely am a fan of the full drill ones more so than the partials. This was my 14th mini Dazzle that I have completed total. And I don't log like what number it was for the year for mini Dazzles or anything like that. It's just my 14th total mini Dazzle because I log those separately than the others. So we're going to put that aside. And next up, my next completion, this is the Flower Dragon Meadow Sal, or Stitch Along. This is from Flossie Fox Shop is the designer for this. And this was a project that I did as a cross-stitch conversion. So basically it was charted by the artist Flossie Fox Shop, and then I bought the drills and the canvas from Jada Gem Shop. So it is a 44.25 by 46.25 centimeter square drill canvas because that's what you typically see with cross-stitch conversions. It had 33 colors, which included a couple dust drills. I want to say there was 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5. I think there were actually 5 dust drills because we have a white, we have a blue, we have a green, and a yellow. And then we have a red. So there were 5 dust drills. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, and I already kitted this down, and I didn't write it in my gems flow or anything. So 5 dust drills in this, which I think this turned out adorably. This is one where basically I started it on the 8th of September and I finished it on the 11th of January. So this one was one that was definitely a long-standing whip that you guys have been seeing for the last few months. But that's because like one dragon was released each month. So this was January, December, November, October, September, and then August. So the first dragon was released in August. I did the first 2 together because I didn't get the drills. There's a delay when you order, like usually the pattern doesn't release super far in advance. So it's like you have to wait until the pattern is out to be able to then put in your order for the canvas and drills. At least that's what we did with this. So there was a little bit of a delay. There was only like a month of lead time. So we ended up getting these like 2 months later, 2 months after we ordered. So basically there was like a month delay. So I worked on this little guy in September as when it worked. So this was like the 6 months. Actually, yeah. So that was like the 6 months progress on this canvas. It took me 24 hours and 18 minutes to complete this. So I thought that was fabulous for something that's a cross-stitch conversion. So you're starting with a completely blank canvas, and it was super cute. My thoughts on this, I probably should have gone with a lighter blue background. I don't mind the green, this very pale green background that we're seeing, but I prefer the background that I did on my actual cross-stitch version. Because this is one that I did actually do both the conversion and an actual cross stitch, which I'm actually pull that up because that's the only cross stitch project that I finished in the month of January is this one. And you can see this right here. This is our little, you can see the size differential when we're comparing the two right here. That's the size differential between doing it on a 14 count Ida versus doing a cross stitch conversion. Definitely took probably about twice as long to do this as what it did to do this one over here. I think I was at something like 40 something hours of work or something maybe more than that. I don't remember. I'd have to like look back at my gems or my timelines app to see. It's definitely much easier for me to do a cross stitch conversion that goes much faster than doing an actual cross stitch. But I do have to say there's just something super fun and adorable about seeing this as a cross stitch. And it's just super cute. I do have to say, just like with diamond painting, how I love my color blocking, I can definitely say that I love my color blocking on cross stitches as well. So when I was working on all of like these details, that was super tedious to do all of these little details in this pattern. When I was working on the dragons themselves, I was like, this is so much fun. I'm loving it. And that's because our little dragons are lots of color blocking in there. There are places that I have made mistakes. Usually if I make a mistake on a conversion, I can pick those drills off and redo it, but I did not feel like doing that for some of the spots that I made mistakes on in here. I just left them as is and moved on. But when it's looking at it like this, you don't necessarily notice, oh, hey, that should have been this color, because you aren't seeing the pattern and it's small, so you can't really tell. But it was super fun to do. And I kind of liked seeing the differences between, you know, doing the conversion here versus doing that same thing in an actual cross stitch. I do have to say, I love the blue background on it. I think that I like the look of this light blue background better than the green background. But anyways, so this was my one cross stitch finish for the month, which I don't really count as a full finish per se in my scheme of what we're looking at here. This one was my dragon number 3, which is the blue dragon, and dragon number 6, which is this green dragon. Those were my 2 favorite out of the bunch of them, but it was super fun. This was this was my second finish for the month of January, second finish for the year, and my 179th finish of all time for this little guy right here. So we're gonna move that one. Oh my goodness, crazy cat. So now, next up, we have probably one of my all-time favorite finishes that I've done. It definitely ranks right up there at the top. This is Naughty Space Void, and this is from Yume. It's a Yume art canvas, and it's from Diamond Art Club DAC. This is square drills, as you can see. Most of my finishes this month were squares. It's a 60 by 76 square drill canvas, and it has 64 colors, which included 2 ABs and three fairy dust. I started this one on the 7th of December, and I finished it on the 17th of January because I was taking my time because I was doing a buddy DP along with C over at Sea of Diamonds. So we worked on it together, kind of like timeline wise. It was kind of cool seeing how she worked on it because she does rows, and then I would do like half rows and then go up the other side. So it was kind of cool seeing those differences from the two of us there. It did take me 32 hours and 9 minutes to do this one, which not bad for considering it's a fairly large square canvas. And it was super fun. I did have a blast with it. There was like a lot of areas of color blocking, like all the sky. And then when you have the details, it didn't feel like too much to do the details because you had those larger areas of color blocking. So I love working on Yume's because you do have a blend. You have certain areas that are going to be confetti, but then you have other areas that are just pure color blocking. I did also do a month in like a post review of this canvas because I added a ton of specials. So this right here is my entire list of specials that I added, like different specials for each section of the canvas. And some of them it would be like, even if it was the same color over here as it was over here, I would use different specials for it. So I added a ton of specials to this one. I love how it turned out. I added specials up here into the Monstera, as you can see, into these plants that we're seeing over in here. They have some crystals and some crystal confetti over into this area to add some accents, because otherwise it's kind of hard to tell. You can see a little bit, but there's a couple of drills that I can push down because they're not fully settled. I think that was when I was trying to pull it out of the cabinet. I was doing it the complicated way. There. Those have been punched back down. So as you can see, it's quite a gorgeous canvas. I love how it turned out. Let me turn off that light so you can see the detail right up in here. So there's multiple colors that we're seeing in the upper corner. Kind of hard to tell with the plants. They're really dark in that area, but it wasn't like pure 310 or anything. I added a ton of enhancements all throughout. I added ones for all of these Monsteras. I added enhancements into the vase here and into this plant and vase over here. I also added some enhancements into our fishbowl. And I added enhancements kind of coming down below the fishbowl on the light reflection here, the shadow of our cat. I also added some up into the sky that we were seeing into the window, and then a ton of enhancements on my cat. So I almost completely blinged out the entirety of our little goldfish, and then I added so many specials into here. I left what you can't really tell, and it's super cool, but it's subtle, is you can see that blue right in there. I actually added a blue crystal as one of the, it's kind of hard to, it's part of the outline is that blue crystal. So you can see it kind of like right there, that's the blue crystal. So it can look dark when you're looking at it, but then when you see it at certain angles, you'll see that blue reflecting, and I think it really adds a layer of like a depth to it. So like this whole area here, that line is a deep blue crystal, and it's just gorgeous. I love the look of it. It really shows up in person. I did add a lot of crystals into here. There's some sparklers, some glitter drills. I thought this was the perfect space for it. There's some dust, some ABs throughout. There's all sorts of specials into our little kitty cat. I did make the whiskers all dust for all of those whiskers there and up in there. And because it was supposed to be like 3 shades of color as it came out, but I didn't. I left it like that. So all of this enhancement wise, super fun to do. I thought it was a blast. I also had picked up this little set of cards from Forever Young, which were patterns, and I did kind of like my own version of a spare square. So this is my Naughty Space Void spare square. So I used some of the drills from in here, the leftovers, to create this to do this right here, and with this pattern that you see. So that's where we see you've got the dark blue, you've got some of the lighter blue that you see interspersed. the whites that you see kind of scattered, and then the yellows from in here. But I kind of wanted to bring out some elements and be like, okay, this kind of goes along with this canvas as one portion of it. I didn't do any of the browns or anything like that, but that was like a spare square that I did for Naughty Space Void, which I thought was super fun. I'm not going to do this for every single canvas. I think just the canvases that I'm like, certain canvases, I think I will do it. I don't know that I necessarily want to do it for everything. But Naughty Space Void was my third finish for the month of January, my third finish for the year, and my 180th finish of all time is this one. And it was such a blast to do. I loved Space Void. So that one was super fun. Next up, we have this tiny little baby canvas here. So after working on a couple big ones, I needed a little breather, and I worked on this small one. So this is Bats and Bells, Teas and Spells by Flossie Fox Shop, and this is comes to us from Jada Gem Shop. That's where you get this little cute canvas here. This one is a square drill canvas, 19.3 by 20.5. So because one of the sides is over 20, this one counts as an actual completion, not as a mini. So that's how my brain logics that. I have to have rules, so that's my rule for that. There are 23 colors in here. It did come with 2 crystals, 4 of the glimmer or dust drills, and then 1 luminescent drill, which is kind of like a glow in the dark, I guess. I started this one on the 18th of January, finished it on the 18th of January, and it took me 2 hours and 36 minutes to do this one here. My thoughts, it was a cute, tiny little snack, and I loved it. There was some trash in some of the drills, but it wasn't anything that was bad or anything like that. The entire background that you're seeing right there, that of the lower portion, that's all a dust or a glimmer drill. I think like Jade definitely throws a lot of those into the canvases that you can see. I want to say that the purple that we're seeing scattered, that's the luminescent drill, is that purple. Let me actually turn that back on. It's just got really dark outside all of a sudden. So that purple is the luminescent or the glow in the dark. We have some crystals that you're seeing. We also have, there's like this lighter gray brown, that brown, the red, and our other dust is the white. So those are our dust drills, and then we have these 2 shades of crystal, and then our purple luminescent. This one was my 4th finish for the month, my 4th finish for the year, and my 181st finish of all time for this cute little guy right there. Next up, we have another Jada Gem Shops. This right here is called Year of the Tiger. So Year of the Tiger is a canvas that I have wanted to work on for quite a while. It just took me a bit before I felt like I actually got around to doing it. This is one of my earliest Jada Gem Shop purchases. I think I purchased this kit back in August of 2023. So definitely one of my older kits. So this one is by the artist Jenna Wing Hill. It's a round drill canvas. It is a 50 by 50, and it came with 55 colors, and I did have this one charted with ABs. And I do have to say, like, my recommendation is if you want special drills on a Jada Gem Shop canvas from one of the hybrid ones, I recommend just doing it yourself, charting it yourself. Because this one here, what I've noticed a trend with some of the ones that I get from Jada Gem Shop when I have the ABs charted in is, like, I would have thought that the ABs would have gone into, like, the reds or the purples. But in reality, the ABs were charted into the background. So the white and then the 2 creamy yellows of the background, because that's 2 different colors in here. So those were the 3 ABs that were charted into this canvas, was a white, a yellow, and another off yellowish white color. So that's something that, like, again, like I said, for me, I would definitely have added different things. So I did add some enhancements into this. So I'm going to turn this overhead off because I think that the rounds look better without that glare. Squares are fine. So it's a very, very blingy canvas. I added a ton of enhancements on this pinkish flower right here. I added some metallics and crystal-y type drills over here for the metals, for her hairpiece, for the jewelry aspect. So I definitely added some specials with that. I did intersperse the metallics into the border of the mask. I think realistically, if I was going back, I would just do the entire outline border of the mask in all metallics and not keep any of the other drills in there, because I was kind of cleaning up some of the confetti as I went in some areas. Same thing, I think that's something that as I work on these, I will kind of clean them up and not do like the confetti border that you see with a hybrid charting. So that's something that I do think I will do. I did sort of do it with my outline. So it's something that if you look on this side of the outline, there's some green, some red, different colored drills in the outline over here in that border. And then as I worked around, I started to do less of that, and I kind of Still kept it with a couple colors, but I basically reduced and improved some of the charting to make it less of that computer hybrid, whatever, render, and cleaned it up a little bit more. I did add some specials into her lips. It was like a crystal purple. I added some dust drills down here, and same thing, I added some specials there. So, and then her fingernail covers, her like finger sheath things, I made those metallics as well. So I thought that added like a nice little look to it with those different colors. So these right here, these are all the specials that I ended up adding, and it is a little bit more complicated doing specials on a hybrid charted kit like this. What I actually ended up doing is I did the entire background first, and then I looked at her and planned out my bling of just her once the background was completed, which is a little bit different than how I normally go. But this right here, these are all of my enhancements for her. I started this one on the 21st of January, finished it on the 25th of January, and it took me 14 hours and 32 minutes to do it. My only thoughts on it was the background was all ABs, so I was like, really, all ABs? Like, I love ABs, but you know, that can definitely get tedious for people that don't care for them as much. And then I also was like that I should definitely, as I work on some of these hybrid charting ones that I have, chart, like basically work some of the confetti out as I'm going. So yes, but that one was my 5th finish for January, my 5th finish for the year, and my 182nd finish of all time for this one. I thought it was an adorable one. I'm super pleased with it and how it turned out. But yeah, that was Year of the Tiger. Next up, we have my final finish for the month. So this one right here, I did for the Art by Julia DP along. This is a duck bath, in case you were wondering and didn't already know. This is the artist, Art by Julia. It's from Diamond Art Club. This one is a square drill canvas. It's a 65 by 80.9. Has 30 colors, so lots of color blocking. If you don't like color blocking, don't do this canvas. Basically, any Art by Julia is going to have a lot of color blocking. It came with 1 AB and 5 fairy dust. I started this one on the 5th of January, and I finished it on the 31st of January. Technically, like, I had almost all of it done, I think, by, like, the 20th or 21st, somewhere around in there. But I was waiting, I had ran out of one of my enhancements that I did, so I had to wait until more enhancements came in, so that way I could finish that last color, which is this color that this, like, sparkler that we're seeing right through here, that really adds to, like, the wet look of the bathroom, which I love it. I love how that sparkler is, because it's all throughout, like, the tiles in the bathroom, and it really gives me that, you know, you're looking at a bathroom look. This one I started, like I said, I finished on the 31st. It took me 33 hours and 36 minutes. I did have some adhesive issues in some areas with it, especially when you're working with some of the special drills. They didn't want to stick as well as they should have. And like I said, I did run out of that one color. But the Art by Julia DP along, that was hosted by Tiffany over at Diamonds at Tiffany's, and Natalie over at Diet Coke and Diamond Painting and Diet Coke and Diamonds, I think is actually, I just usually color Natalie instead of thinking about the channel name. But this right here is duck bath, so you can see how blingy it is. A lot of it was already like, and it's really not bad. I don't worry. This one was definitely a hybrid of the 2 different types of drills. So like this creamy color here was the newest facets that are a little bit flatter up top, and then this right here, you can tell by the sound, these are those pokey 20 facet drills that I loathe. I hate touching them. I did actually end up recharting the coloration right here, because the original artwork actually has this section like supposed to be lighter than the other section, which didn't make sense to me, because when I was looking at it, I'm like, that looks like you're seeing a shadow. But it was charted at a much lighter color, and with all of the enhancements I have in the laundry basket, it looked really off. So I ended up basically, I just ended up saying, okay, we're going to rechart it with a darker color with the crystals and the other specials, and I like how it looks much better. I think it blends much better into the canvas when we see that darkness there. And like with the specials that I added, I did use some of the enhancements from the DP with Sparklers enhancement set, which is some of these ones that we're seeing over in here, but then I added a bunch of my own enhancements on top of that. For this right here. So I added a lot into like this area here, that area. I completely recharted all of the water and it made the water, has some bubbles and some other drills to kind of give it this really cool look. I love how the water turned out. I think it's super cool. Like when you look at it one way, it kind of has that blue look, but then it also has that greenish of the watery look. So it really depends on how you're glancing at it. And it's subtle, but my little duckies, their bodies are dust, and then their bellies are an AB. So I definitely added that in. I made all of the towels ABs and sparklers. This color right here was actually charted in. So that entire creamy color is a dust drill, and it was charted that way. So that's like the windows that we're looking through. And then I added a bunch of enhancements into our plants. So you can see we've got some ABs, we've got some glitter drills. Like, I love the look of it. I love the color of this. I think it's super fantastic. If you're not a green person, obviously you're not going to enjoy this. And I love how the sparklers really catch the light on this. Oh, super, super, super fun. I thought it turned out fantastic. I'm loving it. I think it's a great one. I did also do one of my little spare squares from the Forever Young pattern, and I did this one right here using some of the colors that I thought were really prevalent in this kit to kind of make it kind of blend in with it. I didn't want a lot of like the creamy colors. I wanted to enhance with the greens and some of the specials that I used. So you can see there's a dust, an AB, and then a glitter drill in there. And then the background is just like the standard, one of the standard background colors from this kit. So I thought that turned out fantastic. I loved the look of it, and I thought it was super fun with that different pattern. So that was the spare squares that I did for Duck Bath. And this right here was my 6th finish for the month, my 6th finish for the year, and my 183rd finish of all time for Duck Bath. So now we have all of my whips, or all of my finishes are done. So that was 6 finishes plus the 1 mini Dazzle. So 7 projects that I finished plus 1 cross stitch. So I guess that you could say I finished 8 things this month. And now we're going to roll into my whips. So what do I have going into as far as whips? So I think I have just, well, I think technically it's like 4 things that I have whip wise. So first up, this right here is like the Asian mini Loha set from Oraloa. There are 6 of these little canvases. I'm counting these all as like 1 mini. I don't know why I didn't decide to split them up a little bit more. I totally could have, because size wise they're definitely worth it to like make them a little bit bigger. Just because if we look at their dimensions, they could easily qualify as a mini completion, because you know they're roughly, they do have a size that's over 20, but I didn't, because they're roughly like, you know, like 20 by 24 or so, but they're not full drills, so I did not mark these as a mini canvas. As 8 individual mini canvases, they are marked as one set in my logbook. So that's something that, you know, because I don't, you know, I log things a little differently sometimes, but I have 6 of them to go. These are the ones that I have not worked on yet. We have this little cat. They're definitely little color blocking dreams. We have our sushi. I really want to do that one. And we have this little kitty cat, which just has some weird colors. And then you have the little otters. We have our ramen bowl. I really want to do that one. And then this one right here, the Shiba Inu on a little scooter with another little guy right there. And then the 2 that I finished. So I did this one, which is probably my favorite one so far. I love this one, and I love the specials on this. So we have a AB and a dust drill. And then the other one that I did was our little Shisa, or our lion dog. So I finished this little guy. So I thought he was adorable too. I kind of got a head start on my event, the Asian, basically my event that I'm doing this month, which is the Lunar New Year DP along. I kind of got a head start on that, and that's what you're seeing with the cuteness of this right here. So anywho, I'm super pleased with that. I think that's you know, something fabulous. I'm very happy with these and the quality of them. There's definitely a lot of trash in these drills. They are squares, but they're going pretty quickly, and I'm really happy with them. It's taking me a little over an hour to do each one of these little ones. So it's not going too bad. This one will probably take me longer because it's got a lot more confetti-ish, like smaller color changes for it, but they're kind of fun to do, and the canvas quality is fabulous. Like, I love the canvas quality. It's just, you know, like some trash in the drills, but that is one of the whips that I have. I just started that one actually on the 31st. So actually, no, the 30th. I started that on the 30th, but that's one of my whips. Next up, my whip number 2 is my custom, my Treasure Quest card custom from Diamond Art Club. And this is, the artwork is from my mom. My mom is the original artist. So artwork is from my mom. This is called Mountain Temple. And I am almost halfway done. I am working slowly on this because I'm trying to savor it. So I am not quite halfway. So I've gotten to this portion. I have 3 sections to go because I'm doing small sections on this one. So my sections are like literally like only that wide. So I've got 3 sections to go to finish the first half of it, and then I can start on the second half, which is the one where the temple actually is. So this one, I'm making progress on it, but again, like I said, I'm going very slowly on purpose because I'm trying to savor this. and I'm enjoying it immensely as I work on it. But that is my second whip that I have, and kind of like my first big canvas whip. Next up, we have this one right here. This is the one that I started working on. This is called Totem Phoenix, and this is by the artist Bayonet, and this is from Oraloa. I do have to say the background is very confetti heavy. I have not added any specials to this. I just couldn't even begin to want to. I started working on this section here, and you can see I finished the lantern in like a handful of drills right there. On this one, I did a little bit of those drills right around in here and the lantern. And then I was like, I just can't want to work on this right now. So it's a really cute image. And there is some definite color blocking in like areas like her hair, kind of some interspersed in her robe. But there's a lot of like random confetti as far as checkerboardy style, which you can see right in here. And even when we look at our Phoenix, it's not all just solid color blocking. We have a lot of this alternating colors. So I did the lantern, and then I was like, oh, I can't want to work on this background anymore. So I decided to kit up a bunch of canvases, and I put this one away. I'm like, I'll work on it when I'm in the mood to work on it, but I have a feeling this one is going to be the whip that takes a long time for me to do. But it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to spend my time working on something that's not bringing me joy. And this canvas was not bringing me joy, and it's actually made me think, okay, I think I might need to. I have a couple more Oraloas that are from the same time frame as this that I'm thinking I might actually destash, just because that is not making me happy and bringing me joy like I want when I'm doing a diamond painting. So I'm thinking I'm going to destash the other bayonet that I have. I have to look at the canvas and decide based off of what the canvas says, but I very much think I am leaning that way, especially after working on this. I'm very close to saying this is like a DNF, and I'm not going to actually finish it, but I've never actually not finished a canvas, so I don't know if I can bring myself to do that. But that one is the Totem Phoenix, which is the other whip that I have, and probably one you're going to see for ages. And then the last whip that I have, I did not make any more progress on it this month. I have my cross-stitch conversion, my big project right here that I do need to work on. I feel guilty every time I look at it. But I'm like, I think it's because I'm into this big section of color blocking, which is fine, but I have to do it in like a checkerboarding pattern, which I do as like one row. I do it in columns, but I skip a column in between. But those are my diamond painting whips. I do have a handful of cross stitch whips that I am going into the year with. So I'm going to show those real quickly, and then we're going to look at the canvases that I have kit up. So my cross stitch whips, so we have this right here. This is actually in a little like fabric bag, and this is from, I think it's from like Craft Club, but it's the entire little bag, and you can see I've done some stitching on the front of it, but you do a half stitch for the entire top of this. So I'm going slowly on it because it's not like, it's like more of a yarn material, but that's one of my whips that I'm just kind of plugging away at here and there. Another whip that I have is this one that I have not touched since Thanksgiving time frame, but this is a bookmark. This is going to be a Buddha head bookmark that I started but haven't really made much progress on in the last little bit. And then my last one is one that I actually need to pull out because I'm a little bit behind and I'm trying to stay up on this one. So this one is my first time working on like a non-Ida. So this is an even weave that I'm working on for this one. And it's a stitch along. It's like cats and plants. So this is the first week progress, and week 3 or like part 3 just released. So I need to do another one here and another one there. But it's definitely a little more slow going for me because this is an even weave and the stitches are like so much smaller than what I'm used to for my 14 count that I typically do. So you can see like it's definitely something like, and I'm like, I don't know how I like the mouths and how they do their mouths. So I may rework the mouths and the eyeballs on the patterns as I go. But it's a really pretty fabric color and I'm enjoying and like I like it when once it's done, and there's a lot of back stitching on it, but I'm definitely going to be taking my time on it. But a segment like this big releases every 2 weeks, and that one was in December, and then there were 2 parts that released in January that I have not touched or worked on, and that's what I need to do now that I finished the flossy one. So I'm going to leave this out because I do plan on actively working on this one for there. And the colors are not all pure browns, in case you were wondering. Yes, we have the browns and the tans, but then we also have all of these really pretty greens, and I think these looked as a great, and like look at those oranges and reds. I felt like that was a really great accent for the color of this fabric that I chose. I thought that they accented really well, and it kind of made it a little bit more colorful where you don't feel like you're working with all like earthy tones. But anyways, that is my last whip that I have. So now we're going to go ahead and look at what I kitted up for the month. Well, for more than just a month. It's going to take me a little longer to do that since there's a canvas or two that are much larger. But we're going to go ahead and pull those out and see what I have. So first up, this one is probably the biggest one that I have for my pending, the ones that I did for my Kit Up Palooza. This is called Fisherman's Village. It's from the artist Andreas Rocha, and this comes to us from Shimmering Canvases. I've had this one for a hot minute. I think I bought this back in 2023. So it's a huge canvas, as you can see. It is it's a 100 by 60 centimeter canvas for this one here, and I did get the enhancement set for it, so I'm going to be adding. There will be some bling that I will be adding it in. This will be my first time doing a working on a Shimmering Canvases canvas. The canvas itself, it's a little bit thinner, but it does have some of that like creepy fleece felt backing on it. The adhesive looks good. It does have the really thin release paper on it. So if that's something that people don't like, yeah, it does have that. There are good areas of color blocking. So I do like the render on it because I don't see like, there's some areas that have some confetti in them, but it's not like a pure unadulterated confetti like I'm used to from like one of the other shops that we're going to take a look at that I've got. So I actually am enjoying the look of this render and the fact that I have so much color blocking in there. So that's going to make this definitely go fast, especially for how big it is. But that's one of my canvases that I'm rolling into the month with. And now we're going to, that I want to potentially start working on in like the February-March timeframe. All right, so now we have the rest of the canvases that I'm going to work on this month. Or not necessarily, but until I finish them. So I think I ended up doing like 13 things total. Oh, I have one more over here that I did prep as well, so you guys could see. So I have a whole tower of, a whole pile on the floor. So from Pretty Little Gem, I have this set of their mini canvases that I'm going to work on. So as you can see, this is their Japan set, and I am in love with it, and I am super excited to work on this mini set that you can see right here. So that's going to be super fun to do. But I have this one ready to go and to start working on. I've got the drills labeled and sorted, so I'm really excited for that one. And then of course the finishing that Asian set that I just showcased for you. I also plan on working on Fushimi and Ari. So this is another Yume. This is a round drill canvas. I've really thought about, I haven't decided how much enhancement wise I'm going to add to it. I need to look and see. The sky's got a lot of color, a lot of confetti in it, but I haven't decided how much enhancement wise I'm going to do, or if I want to just do it more as charted and see how it looks as charted. We will see as I get ready to actively work on this one. We will see. You'll see that a lot of the canvases for this month are actually ones that are very much, the canvases this month are very much have an Asian feel for the majority of them, and that's because of, my event for the month. So that way I have kit up things I can work on. This is from Sam in Japan. This is the artist Sam in Japan. It's also purchased from her shop. This is like cute, it's like kitsune face fan mask. It's a 30 by 40 square drills. It's super cute. I'm really excited to work on this one. There are some good amount of special drills that it comes with. I also plan on doing a little bit of a comparison project between these two canvases right here. So these are both Night on the River by the Jaded Gem Shop Collective. It comes to us from Jaded Gem Shop. So you can see here, one of them, this one right here, is a square. And then this one right here is let me flip it around, the round drill version. So I do want to do a little bit of a comparison between the two so you guys can see what it ends up being and kind of like what it looks like. So that's something that I'm definitely excited to kind of do that comparison between the two for those canvases there. But that is Night on the River 1, Night on the River 2, both of them identical. Charting is identical. And I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison of those. But that's those two. And then next up, we have this. This would be my first Make Market canvas. I'm actually, no, I think this one's actually a Leisure Arts. Is this one a Leisure Arts? I don't think it's Make Market. I think it's Leisure Arts. I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say this is, I can't remember, and I'd have to look back on my charting. But it's one of those two companies. But it's a Cherry Blossom Pagoda is what I titled it because it didn't have a name. So you can see we've got the cherry blossoms, the pagoda. I do have to say I'm not a fan of the symbols. So they definitely have those guide circles on all the symbols, which I do not like guide circles. Just give me the symbols and just no grid or anything for my rounds and I'm happy. I do think that the symbols are definitely small size wise, which I think is great. I'm not seeing any massive symbols that it will be hard to cover. Ooh, my hand is super cold. It's really cold outside right now, you guys, in case you can tell. But this is Cherry Blossom Pagoda. And then I have one of my oldest original like Jaded Gem Shop purchases. I think this one is so old that I actually purchased this one in squares. Because I think my first order from Jaded Gem Shop, I did order in squares. This is called Kiki's Flight, and it's from the artist Mia Au. And it's a nice small canvas. It's a 40 by 50. I did have it charted with ABs. And just like I mentioned with the previous one, the ABs on this are the two colors here and this color here. So the background, which again, I'm like, there's so many other things that we could enhance besides the background. So anyways, but that's kind of like, I don't order special drills charted into my Jaded Gem Shop canvases. I just do it myself. I will clean up a lot of like the confetti outlining her hair, because there's like 2 lines of, you know, pure confetti outlining everything on here. So I will clean that up as I work on the canvas, so there's less of that random confetti in there. But that one is going to be super cute. And then we have this one right here. This is Katana. I have been wanting to do this one for ages. I think it is one of the coolest images ever. I'm actually going to add, this is also square drills. It's from the artist Vincent Trinidad, and it comes from Diamond Art Club. I do plan on adding enhancements to this for sure. I'm going to enhance our koi. I'm going to enhance the knife. I'm going to enhance our kanji right through there. And, you know, the tattoos on our cat, those are definitely getting enhanced. And then I'm also adding a pattern in the background. It's going to be like, you know, like a kind of like a lines that make squares in the background, where the outline is done in a dust drill and then the rest of it is filled in with the 310 that you see here. But that's my plan for Katana. I'm really excited to do this one. Next up, we have another Jaded Gem Shop. I apparently have a lot of Jaded Gem Shops in here, but I think all told, for all of the kits that I kitted up, I have like, of the 13 canvases, I have 8 shops represented across those 13 canvases, which is really cool. So this is Unmasked. This is from the artist, let's see, this is from the artist Anastasia Hoffman, and it is another Jaded Gem Shop. It's a 45 by 60. I did get this one with ABs and crystals charted in, which I think this one actually, like the mask is going to be a crystal and ABs in the mask for those whites. And then we also have a green that is an AB as well. And I just have to find where that green is. I think it's down here. Yeah, one of the greens down here is an AB. So that's where the specials are on this one. So I will add more because I want to make these flowers specials for the flowers, for this butterfly, for her, like the colors accenting her robes. And then probably also in, you know, the background right through there. But that one is going to be a fun one to do. Then I also am going to be working on this one. I don't have these in any particular order. They're literally in like the order they were laying in my thing, which was kind of like largest to smallest or smallest to largest. I'm also going to work on this one. This is Lunar New Year, again by the Jaded Gem Shop Collective, and this one was from 2025, which I'll do it with the 2025. I could rechart that to be a 6 instead of a 5 if I wanted to, but this one is going to be a fun one to do. I like the fact that it's got a little dragon, it's got a little snake, it's got our little our lion dog on there, our people, all of like the different elements, which I think is super fun. I like the fact that it says like New Year on it. So I'm definitely working on this one right here for the event. So that's going to be a fun one to work on right there. So yes, I'm going to do that one. And then the last one that I have, this is from Lazy River Crafts. This one is a little bit larger. This is called Festival of Ribbons, and it's from the artist Victoria Rivero. So I want to say this one, is it also squares? Yes, this one is also a square drill canvas. Like I said, I have a lot of squares I'm working on this month. So Lazy River Crafts is no longer in business. I do have a handful of canvases from them still. This is a 60 by 90, but it was such a beautiful image that I wanted to do it. There is a fair amount of color blocking in this one, so that will be good. It won't be as atrocious as like doing the year of the the Storm God. When I did the Storm God, that one was pure confetti, but the image was also one that drew to be that. So the canvas is definitely the thinner canvas, which as far as working on your easel, it's easier to work on those felty ones, but these ones I'm fine touching. It doesn't creep me out to touch the back of this one because it doesn't have that fleece backing. It also does have the really thin release paper, but I'm really, this one I think is going to be not as bad because there are areas of confetti, like the borders of things, but that's something that I'll chart that out. Also, like in her hair, these little light colored streaks are like 6 different shades of drill. So I'll pick like one and do that for the accents to showcase in her black hair. But the majority of the black is just straight 310 that we're seeing on that. And then as you come down, we have a fair amount of color blocking. There are some other colors kind of charted in for areas on here, but the majority of it does have a good amount of color blocking there. It's going to be some areas in the background with the colors blending together, but I think this one is going to go much faster than the Storm God did. I do not expect to finish all of these canvases over the course of this month. I do not, absolutely do not expect to finish all of them over the course of this month. I would be happy if I could finish these in February and March. I do have one canvas in particular that I do plan on kitting up for March for the, I think just in March for the Stoke Your Dragonfire event, which is Mackenzie over at Dragon Wing Diamonds. That's her event. So I will be working on the Leviathan for that event. So that will be one additional kit that I will be enhancing and blinging up is the Leviathan. But that one I do have to kit up later. I did these ones first. I do still have a couple things of empty storage that I can use for kitting up to kit up more stuff. So I do have room for when I get ready to work on the Leviathan. But until then, I just wanted to start with these ones because then I'll be tempted to work on Leviathan now instead of working on one of these other kits. But that is kind of like my plan for this month going forward. I do have to say I did a really good job of not purchasing things. And my my haul video for the month of January is going to be like a lot faster and a lot shorter than some of my more recent haul videos. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my completions, my whips, and my plans and what I kitted up in my latest Kit Up Palooza. And now the thing will be seeing how long it takes me to finish these kits that you saw me kit up. Because I have the 13 canvases that I kitted up. I'm not, like I said, I am not finishing these all in February, especially not with my event going on, but we'll make some progress on them. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.